Imagine waking up to a perfectly ordinary morning. The sun rises, birds chirp, and the aroma of coffee fills the air. You check your phone, glance at the news, and prepare for another day in a world that feels stable, predictable. But what if, overnight, the very foundation of that stability crumbled? What if the US dollar, the world's reserve currency, crashed? This isn't just a hypothetical exercise, it's a deep dive into the immediate, chaotic aftermath of such an unthinkable event. Welcome to Day 1, a journey into economic chaos and societal upheaval as the world grapples with a dollar in freefall. The first tremors hit the financial markets. As trading opens, screens flash red, signaling an unprecedented collapse. Billions, then trillions, vanish in moments. The stock market plunges into an abyss, wiping out fortunes and futures. Banks, overwhelmed and uncertain, begin to freeze transactions. Digital payments halt, credit cards are declined. The digital economy, once a symbol of convenience, becomes a source of widespread panic. Your balance? Suddenly, worthless. People rush to use their cards, their apps, only to be met with error messages and the chilling realization that their digital wealth is gone. The immediate instinct is to seek physical cash. A desperate scramble begins as people flock to ATMs, but the machines are either non-functional, displaying out of service, or quickly emptied by the first wave of panicked withdrawals. The lack of cash, combined with frozen digital payments, brings commerce to a grinding halt. The economy seizes up. Beyond personal finances, the global supply chain immediately feels the shock. Imports and exports are thrown into disarray. Factories reliant on international components cease production. Goods cannot be bought or sold across borders. Supermarket shelves, once brimming with choices, quickly begin to empty. Panic buying exacerbates the problem. Basic necessities become scarce. The illusion of abundance shatters, revealing a fragile dependency on a stable currency. As economic chaos unfolds, a wave of public confusion and fear sweeps across the nation. News channels become the focal point. Reports of widespread panic, protests, and desperate attempts to understand what's happening dominate the airwaves. People gather in public spaces, seeking answers, reassurance, or simply a shared sense of bewilderment. The fabric of daily life unravels. Trust in institutions erodes with every passing hour. Essential services, the backbone of any society, begin to buckle under the pressure. Hospitals face critical shortages. Medical supplies, often imported, are no longer accessible. Payment systems for critical care fail, creating impossible dilemmas. Emergency services struggle with fuel shortages and communication breakdowns. The infrastructure of safety begins to fray. Amidst the growing chaos, the government attempts to regain control. Emergency broadcasts interrupt regular programming. Leaders try to reassure the public, promising solutions. But their words ring hollow against the backdrop of collapsing systems. The initial attempts to stabilize the situation seem futile. The sheer scale of the crisis overwhelms any immediate response. Day 1 draws to a close, leaving behind a landscape of economic ruin and profound societal shock. The unthinkable has happened. The dollar has crashed, and the world is reeling from the immediate, devastating impact. But this is just the beginning. The first day was a glimpse into the abyss. What horrors, what challenges will day 2 bring? Yesterday, the unthinkable happened. The dollar crashed, plunging the world into immediate economic chaos. Today, Day 2, the tremors of that collapse have become a full-blown earthquake, shaking the very foundations of society. The banks remain shuttered, digital systems are still down, and the illusion of wealth has evaporated. Money, as we knew it, is meaningless. In its place, a primitive form of commerce emerges, bartering. People trade what they have for what they desperately need. A can of food for a gallon of water, a skill for a service. But as the economic breakdown deepens, so does the desperation. Shortages of essential goods worsen dramatically. Food, water, medicine, and fuel become precious commodities, leading to increased tension and fear. With the collapse of financial systems and the scarcity of resources, law and order begin to fray. Reports of increased crime, looting, and civil unrest spread like wildfire. The thin veneer of civilization starts to crack, revealing a struggle for survival. People are forced to make impossible choices, prioritizing immediate needs over long-term stability. Families huddle together, trying to protect what little they have, while others venture out in search of supplies, facing unknown dangers. Governments, overwhelmed by the scale of the crisis, struggled to maintain control. Emergency distribution centers are set up, but logistical nightmares and widespread panic make effective aid nearly impossible. Martial law is declared in some areas as military presence increases to quell unrest. The international community, reeling from the global impact of the dollar's collapse, offers little immediate assistance. Each nation grapples with its own internal crises, leaving many to fend for themselves. Day 2 draws to a close, leaving behind a landscape of deepening despair and uncertainty. The initial shock has given way to a grim reality. The world is a different place, a harsher place. The question is no longer just what if, but how do we survive? What will Day 3 bring? Will humanity find a way to rebuild, or will the chaos consume everything? Imagine a world where the bedrock of global finance, the US dollar, crumbles overnight. This isn't just a financial crisis. It's a societal earthquake, reshaping every aspect of life. In Part 3 of our series, we delve into the long-term consequences, exploring the profound shifts from Day 3 onwards. The initial shock gives way to a new reality, where communities must find innovative ways to survive and thrive. One of the most immediate changes is the reemergence of the barter economy. Cash, now worthless, is replaced by direct exchanges of goods and services. Local markets become vibrant hubs, where skills and resources are traded freely. This fosters a powerful sense of community resilience. People rely on each other, forming networks for food, security, and mutual support. Local initiatives spring up, filling the void left by traditional systems. Beyond barter, alternative currencies begin to gain traction. Precious metals like gold and silver, long considered stable, become new mediums of exchange. Even digital currencies, once niche, find a new purpose in localized economies. The government, too, must redefine its role. Attempts are made to establish new economic frameworks, perhaps even new national currencies. Alliances are forged, both domestically and internationally, to navigate this uncharted territory. The dollar's collapse sends ripples far beyond U.S. borders, triggering profound global repercussions. The shift in global power dynamics is undeniable. Other nations and their currencies gain prominence, challenging the old order. International trade undergoes a radical reconfiguration. New trade routes emerge, and agreements are forged, often bypassing the U.S. entirely. However, this transition is not without its costs. Regions heavily reliant on dollar-denominated aid or trade face severe humanitarian crises. The long-term outlook presents a critical question: recovery or complete redefinition? What would it truly take for the U.S. to rebuild its economic standing? It would require unprecedented innovation, sacrifice, and a fundamental rethinking of its economic model. Or are we witnessing the birth of a new global order? A multipolar financial world where no single currency dominates could become the new norm. Individual adaptation is key to survival in this transformed landscape. People's lives are permanently altered, but resilience and innovation shine through. The dollar crash marks the end of an era, but also the beginning of another. The profound and lasting impact reshapes not just economies, but human society itself. The lessons learned from such a hypothetical scenario are invaluable. They remind us of the fragility of our systems and the enduring strength of human spirit. While a dollar crash is a dire prospect, it also forces us to consider a different, perhaps more resilient, future. A future where adaptability, community, and innovation are the true currencies.